We're coming, and we ain't backing down.
We don't need a bunch of cats in here looking in the mirror.
Everybody just do your job. You understand that?
Hey, will you shut up?
I'm bitterly disappointed with the officiating today.
Guys being dudes.
And they run through our like through a tin horn, man.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, athletic directors. Thank you, deep-pocketed, shadowy boostery figures, because we have our first emergency show of the 2025 Coach Carousel. I'm Alex Kirshner, along with Richard Johnson.
God, really taking the Steelers loss today hard, right?
The Steelers won today.
The Steelers won today? I didn't know the Steelers won today.
Come on, Richard.
The Jags did not.
Obviously, what we're here to talk about is that Trent Dilfer got fired today. Actually, it was a bad day. It was a bad day to be a Trent. Has there ever been a day with two sitting college football coaches named Trent, Bray, and Dilfer fired in one day?
A worse day to be a James, however, which is obviously the real reason why we have gathered you here today, dearly beloved. James Franklin is out as Penn State's head coach after one of the most disastrous 15-ish day stretches, 14-ish day stretches that you can ever remember for a program of its size. Alex, I feel like you rarely get, when a coach gets fired, you rarely get as clean a break of an era as you're getting right now, with James Franklin being out at Penn State, Drew Aller being out for a college career-ending injury, at least, because he's going to go to the NFL. Multiple players that you brought back, Singleton, Allen, Dennis Sutton, I mean, name them, that aren't going to be on this team next year, that are going to go to the NFL. Like, you really have a hard stop here in a way that feels very, like, sudden, very jarring in how it happened. And it's my understanding that this was pretty impulsive overall, as far as the exact specific timing. I think that both of us, and I don't want to speak to you, but I think that both of us were kind of like, are we definitely doing this next year? I think both of us had a significant amount of doubt of whether we were going to do this next year.
Well, when we talked on the Hurry Up just this morning as we record this on Sunday night, my view was this probably would find a way to end after the season. I was a little surprised that found out when I was heading to lunch or whatever it was, breakfast, that they were wrapping this thing up. But I think you're right about the suddenness of it all. And part of the reason that it feels so jolting is that the James Franklin era at Penn State was not a complete flop. I don't think it's even close to a complete flop.
No,
I think
anybody who's saying that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that it was actually kind of a great era for Penn State football, but I shouldn't use the word great because it falls short in the obvious way. It's 12 years. They win a Fiesta, a Cotton, and a Rose. He takes Penn State to the first semifinal round of the 12-team playoff era, but it's going to go down as a tenure that I think is primarily thought about for a while, as unfair as this may be. It's not really unfair. For the 1-18 against top 10 opponents in Big Ten play in regular season games, the fact that we all remember the one speaks to how it was the exception rather than the rule. And I think it will be remembered for, in particular, not so much the Oregon loss, but the UCLA thing and the Northwestern thing. This is going to be one of those administrations that historians look back on later, and I think it might look better than it feels right now because of the horrendous way in which it ended, and God, was it horrendous. I mean, that's where we really have never seen anything like it, the last couple of games in particular.
Yeah, as you know, I absolutely abhor using AP rankings of the time a game happened as a reference, but I actually make the exception as far as James Franklin is concerned.
Agreed.
2-21 against AP top 6 opponents, and they had lost 15 straight dating back to 2016. Why I make the exception is, frankly, all the teams they lost to, it's fucking Michigan, Ohio State. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's Michigan, Ohio State. There's like an Iowa in there or whatever it was. And obviously Notre Dame last year. So I make an exception because of the context. I think one of the most interesting things about, well, let's stick on James first. Let's stick on James first before we talk about all this kind of stuff. James took this job at an absurd time. for multiple reasons. Took a job with an interim AD and an interim president. He took the job, obviously, after Bill O'Brien just left, pretty much, in the blaze of glory that he left. Your point about what he built is, I mean, again, we know the shortcomings. The shortcomings are myriad. And if you're a Penn State fan, I know you know the shortcomings, and you're going to be very upset as I bring this up. But like, it's double-digit win season after double-digit win season. Like, what Penn State is trying to do here is something that is so difficult to do, which is to go from 9.5 wins to 11.5 wins. And obviously now a requisite deep run in January. Very, very easier said than done. Pretty much Oregon and Georgia are the only teams that have done it. And you could argue how well Oregon's actually done it. God love Dan Lanning.
I think that you could. While we do the James of it all first, I'll add to this. Add this to what you just said. I think that James Franklin had an effect on Penn State that was similar, and again, we all know the differences, to the effect that Nick Saban had on Alabama. And I want to explain what I mean. This was a legitimately toxic environment that James Franklin walked into when he took this job in 2014. Bill O'Brien left in the blaze of glory that you mentioned. We all know everything that happened before Bill O'Brien. It defies the need to explain it on this podcast. But Bill O'Brien leaves in large part because of the toxicity of the internal politics at Penn State. There was a very insightful interview that he gave, though I'm not sure he knew he was on the record at the time, with David Jones of Penn Live, in which he said, I'll just read some quick excerpts.
This is the blaze of glory, by the way.
This is the blaze of glory. He said, quote, Bill O'Brien, before he's about to leave Penn State, "You can print this. You can print that I don't really give a shit what the, quote, Paterno people think about what I do with this program. I've done everything I can to show respect to Coach Paterno, everything in my power, so I could really care less about what the Paterno faction of people, or whatever you would call them, think about what I do with the program. I'm tired of it. For any Paterno person to have any objection to what I'm doing, it makes me want to put my fist through this windshield right now." That's kind of what we're talking about when we talk about Penn State factionalism, right? Like, there are what I would call the non-insane Penn State fans, donors, trustees, power brokers. And then there are what I would call the make Penn State Paterno again people who have all of the requisite cultural overlaps with the analog that I'm using from our politics. And James Franklin did Penn State a couple of great services. He won so many games over so many years that the, quote, Paterno people, who O'Brien was so fed up with, were basically never heard of in public. Like, they continue to exist. Jay Paterno's on the board at Penn State, to be clear.
Buddy, I see some 409? I went to a restaurant on 2 Saturdays ago with 409 napkins.
I ain't saying they've gone away. They're still there. But James Franklin got them out of his way and got basically people to shut the fuck up in public and let him do his thing. He strong-armed this program additionally into making significant infrastructure investments back when his stock was high and he could have left, some of which are still being built right now. That $700 million Beaver Stadium project that they've got going on right now. So James Franklin really cleaned a lot of stuff up here. And if he'll hang his hat on one thing, I think it's that he took over a very damaged, still good job, but a very damaged college football job that was not great. It was more upsidey at the time. And he leaves one of the greatest jobs in college football that somebody is probably going to knock out of the park next.